You can't touch this. You can't touch this. You can't touch this.
Bringing it back. You can't touch this. Hey, welcome everybody to the Nosebleeds. I'm Chris Witt. With me is my much older and better looking cousin, Adam Schmidt. Adam, how are you today, sir?
I'm exquisite. How are you?
If I was any better, I'd be you.
Thanks for the much older compliment.
Yeah, well, you are much older.
I'm just going to call it a compliment.
There is
I don't know why.
There's a short period of time where you're 1 year older than me, and then there's an even longer period of time where you're 2 years older than me. So
yeah,
you're much older in my opinion.
My age fluctuates a lot. That's why that happens.
Yeah, it fluctuates a lot. Yes, so does mine. It goes from once a year it fluctuates, just like my weight. Hey, speaking of, congratulations to me, under $2 bills. Finally got myself under the big 200.
Nice work.
Not bad for a 5'6" guy, huh?
Nice. 5'6". Yeah, right.
Close enough.
5'6" if you're wearing 6-inch heels.
Yeah, I hear you. All right, hey, everybody. We appreciate everyone's comments past week. Please continue to listen to us. We're on SoundCloud, iTunes, CastBox, and YouTube. You can find Adam on the tweet box at...
Sorry, you threw me off with the tweet box. That's good. The tweet...
The tweeter.
On the tweet box, I'm Adam Schmidt 44.
And you can catch me at SickWittit. SICWHITTIT. All right, so today we're going to go over a little NBA playoffs. We're going to get into some MLB. A little no-hitter went down. I think Adam's got a little bit he wants to get into with that. Mm-hmm. I'd like to follow up a little bit of that sabermetrics talk we had last week. Okay. There's an article that we saw came out shortly after a day or two after we put that podcast out, and it was pretty interesting. Mm-hmm. So we'll go over that and, of course, talk about the infamous last place chasing records of possibly being the worst team ever in the history of baseball. And I think they just made a move that got them even closer to that. So
okay.
I'll tease that there, leave it there. Let's start off with some NBA playoffs. It has just gone final for us, so we can officially say that the second round of the NBA playoffs, not nearly as exciting as the first. Our conference finals are now set up, so we're looking in the East. The Celtics take a 2-point win over Philly. And the Cavs sweep Toronto, which is a joke because now I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they've won 9 straight playoff games against Toronto.
Yeah, that sounds about right. And what's funny is a couple of days after Toronto gets swept out of the playoffs by the Cavs again, Dwayne Casey is named the Coach of the Year today.
Yes, Coach of the Year.
Congratulations.
He gets Coach of the Year when the team that is going to the Eastern Conference Finals to play against LeBron is a team that has their 2 best players not playing. Somehow Brad Stevens doesn't go, and I heard this today. I think the old Stu Gotts said it, or somebody said it on ESPN Radio, that somehow he did not get a single vote for Coach of the Year.
Was it him? I heard
that
that about Brett Brown.
Maybe they were talking about Brett Brown. Maybe I misheard it.
I would be blown away. I'm a little surprised that Brad Stevens didn't win the award, but if he didn't get any votes, I mean,
that's ridiculous.
I'm not going to follow any writers or whoever votes on that anymore.
There you go. So tell me what you think. What's your what? Let's recap it, man. What do you got?
Okay, so the Rockets beat the Jazz in 5 games, and that was. It wasn't as lopsided as it sounds, I don't feel like.
I don't know.
It was – the Jazz played with them in at least a couple of the games. But the elimination game was last night. And as a matter of fact, the elimination game for both Western Conference series that were going on was last night. So the Rockets beat the Jazz 4-1. Chris Paul, who – I feel like has been not exactly absent, but not the Chris Paul that you're going to think of at the end of his career, who's probably going to be in the Hall of Fame. He wasn't that Chris Paul. I feel like most of these playoffs so far, but he broke out with 41 and 10 assists last night to close out the Utah Jazz.
So for Chris Paul, I do want to say this. Congratulations. 3 teams. Was it 13 years? 3 teams, 13,
like
14, 15 years in the NBA. Finally made your first conference finals.
Yeah.
Good for you, brother. We're so happy for you.
Congratulations. I sent a cake to you in the mail today. I have no idea if it's going to get there. I just put it in a box. It's not covered or anything. It's going to be
no cellophane or anything like that.
You're going to open the box. It's going to be just cake and icing everywhere when you open that thing up. I don't know what you're going to do with it, but congratulations. It's the thought that counts.
That's right.
So anyway, yeah, that is the first conference finals for
thought that counts. Here's a stale cake that's got icing all over a box.
That's just everywhere. It's got box all over it.
Did you put candles on the cake before you shipped it?
You know what? I didn't. It's not a birthday cake. It's a...
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. I blow out candles on every cake that I have.
Okay. Well, the next congratulations cake I get you, I will put candles just covering the thing. And I'll light them all like real early so it's covered in wax as well.
Yes. My favorite. And I will spit on them to blow them out so you won't eat a piece. Then I can get back over that 2 Bill mark.
Look, the only other thing I want to take away from that Rockets-Jazz series is the emergence of Donovan Mitchell. He was good all year, and he was kind of in the conversation for Rookie of the Year.
He's not kind of. He is. There's 2 guys. It's
right.
Him and Ben Simmons. There's no kind of about it.
And before this series, I still was saying Ben Simmons was my Rookie of the Year. After this series, I would love to see them be co-Rookies of the Year. I know people don't like that. I'm a big fan of it.
I have no problem with it.
I'll give a 3-way co-MVP out. I don't care. Everybody that deserves it, I feel like should get a piece of it.
Sure.
Donovan Mitchell.
But you're also the guy who probably gives a blue ribbon to the winner of or the third place gets a first place ribbon and all that, first place in our hearts kind of
No. I don't. I'm not the every kid that participates in a game gets a trophy. I don't believe in that. But the people that are most deserving of the biggest awards,
the best of the best.
Yeah, I think I have no problem with sharing those awards. Anyway, but Donovan Mitchell, if he wasn't a star before, he's an absolute star now. He was in that elimination game yesterday alone. He's been incredible. He might have been the MVP of that series, even though they lost 4-1.
You might be right, because if it wasn't for him, the 2 games that they were close in, they wouldn't even been there.
Right. Yeah. But he had an outstanding game yesterday. He only had 2 points in the first half, but he had 22 points in the third quarter, and he was he was scoring every way you could imagine. He's so good with the basketball. He can make that step back 3 that everybody shoots now. He can go by you. He can, he'll cross you over and go by you, or just he gets to the rim. He finishes tough layups in traffic. He can score about any way you want him to. He scored 22. He outscored the Rockets alone in the third quarter, and then he got hurt with about 7 minutes to go in the game and didn't return. And Chris Paul took over and
didn't have I don't think it would have made a difference. Obviously, Chris Paul had the game of his life to make sure that he was not going to be have to go any further without getting to his Western Conference final. So. Right. Good for him.
So on to the Warriors-Pelicans. Warriors took care of them 4-1 as well. Steph Curry came back in Game 3, I think it was, Game 2 or 3, and he's looked like the old MVP Steph Curry, in the last few games.
They did the right thing. I think they did the right thing by keeping him out as long as they did, because it's been a week or 2 ago where he was shooting. They had him out and he was shooting and he was dribbling around and doing his thing pregame, but they weren't playing him still. Right. And I think they did the right thing because he looks as fresh as you can possibly be right now. The guy looks. He looks, like you said, he looks like Steph Curry.
Yes, and throughout the season. They didn't win at the same pace that they did the last couple of years. So, a lot of people were saying, maybe this team's declining a little bit, or maybe they're something's going on. They're just not the same team. And the Rockets had the best record in the league almost the whole year. So I think a lot of people were saying maybe this Rockets team is the team that's going to dethrone them as the Western Conference champions for the last 4 years or whatever it is.
Right.
I don't think that. I didn't really think that before, and especially after the last couple of games and the way Steph looks and the way Durant's shooting the ball still and the way Draymond Green's playing again. They are dominant. I mean, they're a dominant team again. I feel like they're without question the best team in the world.
Did you see Draymond Green? Did you see Rondo was talking to who's the Pelicans head coach? Oh, no, it was an assistant coach. I'm sorry, it was an assistant coach. And he's got a clipboard. He's talking to Rondo, and they're both looking hunched over, looking at this board, and Draymond Green is standing right next to him, staring right down at the board that they're writing stuff on. And it took them like a full 6 seconds before they realized he was there. It was hilarious.
He was.
I'm not a big Draymond Green fan at all, but that was funny. I like that.
Yeah. And speaking of Draymond Green, he averaged a triple-double in that series. I mean, he might have been their most valuable player as well as Steph and KD are playing, and Klay Thompson is, still one of the best 2 or 3 shooters in the league. Draymond Green averaged a triple-double in that series. So he's been, and he's, defensive player of the year, and so he's back to having that impact.
Is he that good, or is he a system type guy? If he played for another team, would he be this guy?
No, he wouldn't be. He wouldn't put up the exact numbers.
Obviously, but
he would still be one of the best defensive players in the league for sure.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's capable of. I mean, as long as he doesn't play on the Suns or something, he's going to play with other good players, and he's going to get he can get you 8 assists or 10 assists or whatever, and he'll get you he'll rebound the ball no matter what team he's on, and he'll give you 12 points or whatever he needs to do. He doesn't need to be a scorer at all. So, he's just, I mean, he kind of plays the entire game, and especially on the defensive end, he's going to guard your best player probably, and
he'll probably kick him in the nuts a couple times.
He might do something dirty. I don't know, but he, you know what? He's been a lot better this year.
He's been way better. Stuff. But he kicked last year 3 different guys.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm sorry. I think it was 2 different guys. One of them twice. Mm-hmm. Steven Adams. Deliberately. Come on.
Yeah. And
I wish somebody would kick him in the nuts one time.
I'm sure he's gotten it. I'm sure he gets stuff all the time because
I guarantee
he gets under people's skin, and I'm sure people do stuff back.
And he probably loves it. I think Embiid's the same way. I think Embiid loves getting that little bit. He gets chippy. He likes when those guys get chippy with him. I like Embiid better than I like Draymond Green though.
Okay.
You don't like Joel Embiid. We've already had this conversation.
No. It's not that I don't like.
You don't like his antics.
I don't love his antics. Because I don't feel like he's. I don't know if it's that I don't feel like he's earned that yet, or he's just. He's too much about that kind of stuff, and I think he does the same thing sometimes that Lance Stevenson does, where he gets a little too into the emotional stuff and then doesn't think. But he's a better player.
The problem is they are so far away from each other on how good of a player you are that when you're Lance Stevenson and do it, you just look like an idiot. When you're Joel Embiid and do it, you back it up. You can look. Do what you got to do. I think he had 3 blocks. Jaylen Brown came in, or no, it was Tatum went up in that early in the third quarter today and tried to dunk on him, and it was pretty funny. Like, what are you trying to do? That's something that Stevenson's not going to do all the time, and Embiid backs it up. I like it. That's why there's a difference for me. Anyway.
So the last thing I have on this Warriors Pelicans team is going to be really, really interesting next year. Drew Holiday in the playoffs has become a really good guard in this league. I mean, I don't know what happened, but he just took his game to another level just almost overnight, it seems like. He was always a decent player, but he has become a great player in the playoffs here. Matter of fact, in that game last night that they lost and got eliminated, he had a triple-double. He had a 27-point triple-double. And then Anthony Davis had 34 and 19 last night. They've got some. If Drew Holiday stays at least the same and is play. He probably won't play to that level through the regular season next year, but he knows what he's capable of now.
And if it's a guy that can step up, I mean, they're going to have Cousins next year with him too. So if it's a guy that can just step up and do this in the playoffs, plus you got Davis and Boogie down low, What do you think? What do you think about this, real quick? What the JRUE? What do you think about the name, the spelling?
Can you say it again?
JRUE, Drew.
Oh, JRUE.
That's not
I thought
Drew.
you were saying like 2 words or something.
No, JRUE, Drew. No.
That's a different spelling. Sometimes I like a different spelling. Sometimes it kind of annoys me.
This annoys me. I'm annoyed by this. Yes,
I don't
I'm
mind.
Super annoyed by this.
I don't mind his spelling. I just like Drew Holiday. I don't know.
But his name's not Drew Holiday. His name is Drew Holiday. So stop calling him Drew, because it's not Drew. No, there's no D in front. It's just a J.
Well, so if it's spelled DREU, you say it like the D is a J.
No, I say Drew.
Drew. Oh, you say Drew? Is that what you say?
It took me 3 times to actually get it out the way I wanted it to come out. I tried so hard. All right, Drew Holiday.
Anyway, the Pelicans are going to be interesting because, they were so good in the second half of the year and even in the playoffs. I mean, they're not going to beat the Warriors, but they were really good in the second half without Boogie.
Yeah.
He's going to come back, and you would think he would make them better, but they played differently without him. They played a lot faster. Their pace was a lot faster without him.
Yeah.
And they ended up being really good because Anthony Davis can play that way. He's a big guy that
and
can
he
play
can get
that
up
way.
and down the court. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do next year.
Next year will be fun. We're going to have a show on once the NBA finals is over, we'll have a show on next year, because I think next year is going to be it's going to be fun to talk about what these guys do. Of course, there's a lot of really good there's a lot that's going to happen in free agency that's going to make a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
But so we'll get into that later. All right, so next one, what we got for the Eastern Conference, brother?
Well, okay, so the Cavs swept the Raptors. We kind of already mentioned.
There's really not much to talk about that besides the fact that LeBron James is the greatest player of this generation.
He is, yes, no question about that. And he averaged 34. He almost averaged a triple-double too. He averaged 34 points. So he averaged 34, a little over 8 rebounds, a little over 11 assists.
And he didn't play the fourth quarter in 2 games.
Right. Almost 2 steals, a block a game. You know what I think his most impressive stat from this series was?
Turnovers.
Yes.
Yeah.
He averaged 2 turnovers a game.
Yeah.
That is nothing. For his usage rate and the amount of decisions that he makes, the amount of times he has the ball in his hands.
It's amazing.
And what happens on offense depends on what he decides what happens. To average 2 turnovers in a game.
He's got the ball in his hand more than the average point guard.
Mm-hmm.
And he to only have 2, that's incredible. Another stat real quick to flip back. Did you see Chris Paul's turnover line in that game he just had in the 42-point game?
I may have, but I don't
remember.
0. Yeah.
I love Chris Paul because he's always at the top of turnover to assist ratio.
Yeah.
And I love that. That's what I want a point guard to do. Plus, he can score.
And speaking of that really quickly, and we'll move on to so we can move on to the Celtics series because
sure.
So okay, LeBron was great. They swept the Raptors. Onto the Eastern Conference Finals.
LeBron is kryptonite for them.
So speaking of turnovers and taking care of the ball, Terry Rozier had his first turnover in the fourth quarter of the playoffs tonight.
Are you serious? Holy
and
cow.
It was like he played like over 100 minutes in the fourth quarter of all playoff games this year, and he had his first turnover in the fourth quarter tonight.
Wow, that's insane. And the reason why the Celtics go 4-1.
He's as big a reason as any guy on that team that they are moving on to the Eastern Conference Finals.
So we're going to make a pact right now on this show.
Okay.
If throughout however many shows we go on with, if it goes to 7 games or if it's a sweep or whatever happens in the Cavs series, if they beat the Cavs and go to the finals, we will not refer to him. This will be the only time it happens. Refer to him as Scary Terry. I hate that. I think
I won't say that.
Thank you. Okay, just want to make sure we get that out. They'll never come out. All right, so Rozier, that is super impressive though. Think about that. Over 100 minutes. And I mean, that's 4 games.
This isn't a veteran like Chris Paul.
Yeah.
This is a young guy that doesn't have much experience in the NBA yet, and he has played lights out in the playoffs. I mean, you're really not. Look, okay, he is not Kyrie Irving, but you're not losing a ton right now with the way he's playing. You're not losing a ton at that position with Kyrie out with the way Rozier's playing.
It's in you're not going to get the points you're going to get,
Right.
but points off turnovers from on the opposite side of that from whatever Kyrie turns the ball over, then then you're getting that's increasing your point value.
Yep.
So I completely agree. At this point in time, not even close to the same player, and I would never compare him because Kyrie is a much better basketball player, but he has been as good as points or total wise as a point guard as Kyrie would have been in this series.
Yeah. So the Celtics move on. Okay, so they just beat the Sixers, and that was actually a closer series. I feel like too, because 2 of the games were a total of like 6 or 8 points. One of them went to overtime. One of the games that the Celtics won, the Sixers had a 22-point lead, and you can look at it 2 ways. Maybe they don't deserve, maybe they're not ready to win really in the playoffs because they squandered a 22-point lead, or you can say they were good enough to have a 22-point lead against a really good Celtics team.
Yeah.
So anyway, in this game tonight. Even though it was ended up being an elimination game for the Sixers, this game went back and forth. It was run after run after run. They just traded runs. It was an exciting game. It was an exciting series. I would love to see this same series next year in the playoffs too. And the Sixers will probably be a little bit better, and the Celtics are probably going to be better, which is pretty scary.
That's scary.
And anyway, both of these teams I'm really excited about for the next few years.
No doubt. So that brings us to the finals. Okay, so we're going to have another show because putting this out every Thursday. I believe this is supposed to, the next round will probably start Saturday now. I mean, LeBron I think was hoping to have the whole weekend, but
that's the thing. I don't know because the Western Conference Final starts Monday. So
really?
So
so it's either gonna be Monday or Tuesday for the Eastern Conference then too, since they played today.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll definitely be in the middle of it. So I think we will. I'd like to see the first game, and then I'll tell you what I think. You know what I think. I think Kyle Korver and I think Kevin Love turn this Cavaliers team into another finals Cavs team. They've got to do what they just did, but as long as what I said it last week, if we can find a way to get 1 or 2 guys into that 20 to 25 point range, the Cavs are going to be unstoppable. They did it, ran through them. Now it'll be interesting because Celtics are much better matchup. It seems like a little bit better. Trying to have anybody that could guard LeBron.
Right.
Whereas, and I don't know who's going to guard him really. You're not going to put Jaylen Brown on him. He's too small. You're not going to put Tatum on him. He's athletic enough, but he's just not big enough to take him on. And if you put a guy like Marcus Smart's not going to guard him. I don't think he's too slow. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but and a guy like there's going to be a handful of guys thrown at him, just like every other time that he's out there.
Yeah, it'll be guard LeBron by committee, I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure Brad Stevens will throw as many different looks as LeBron to try to keep him off balance because that's all you can do. You can't stop. You're not going to have anybody that's just going to stop LeBron James.
It'll never happen.
But you just do try to keep him off balance and make him make tough decisions and stuff like that. But
so what do you think is going to happen in that?
So this is another one I've been wrong about some of these series, but I hope it goes 7 games. I can see it going 7 games.
I think
too.
both of these are going 7 games. I think they're both going to go
Really?
7 games, and I don't. To be honest, I love LeBron. That's my guy. That Western Conference Finals, that is going to be one. I will stay up and watch every second of every game of that because that is going to be 120 to 118 every night.
Probably.
It's going to be fun to watch. A lot of scoring, a lot of traveling, a lot of Euro steps. It'll be
a lot of 3-pointer shot.
A lot. As many step back 3-pointers as there are dunks. I wonder if that's a stat. Made dunks versus made step back threes.
Oh, made Oh,
Yeah, see,
man.
there's going to be a ton taken. We know that. But
Yeah.
made step-back threes
Oh,
versus made
man.
dunks.
Such
I'm
a different percentage shot on those two shots.
But when you take 4,500 more step-back threes
Yeah.
than you do shots on the block, then, yeah.
You'll probably make more. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so Eastern Conference Finals. I say 7 games. I don't even think I think you might have been getting at that. You want to see that first game.
I want to see it first. I want to see that first game, see what the matchups look like,
Yeah.
see what they go before I'm going to make any kind of decision.
I can see each team winning all of their home games. But if anybody's gonna, I don't know. That's how indecisive I am
know
about
you.
it right now.
Here he is.
I know. I'm indecisive
Adam.
about everything, but especially this series. I'm not as indecisive about the Western Conference series, though. The Rockets are really good. They really are. I just feel like right now the Warriors are back to being the Warriors from the last couple of years, and I think they're gonna. I can see them beating them in 5. I can see them beating them in 6. I don't really think it's going to go 7. I don't think they're going to sweep them, but I think they'll beat them in 5 or 6.
Yeah. Man, you really think so, huh?
I really think so. I don't think it's going to go 7.
I'm a Houston guy. I said it from the beginning, so.
Sure, you're born and raised Houston.
No.
Absolutely.
Yes, born and raised in the sweet city of Houston, Texas. No, I said it from the beginning. I think Houston is going to be in the finals. I think LeBron's going to beat him in the finals, but I think Houston's going to win this.
Wow.
And it's hard for me to say that still, but I gotta go with my guns. I said it in the beginning when we first got to this, so I'm gonna stay with them. But with Steph back, boy, it's hard to say that anybody's gonna beat these Warriors.
Yeah.
All right. So moving on from the Steph Warriors, let's get into a little Major League Baseball. It's my favorite time of the year. It's this day because it's Yankees Red Sox series is going on right now. And when those two teams are good, it's so much fun to watch these guys. So anyway, we had a no-hitter here, and I think you got a little something on it.
Yeah, James Paxton for the Seattle Mariners threw a no-hitter a couple days ago against the Blue Jays. He's from Canada, so he threw the no-hitter in Toronto against the Blue Jays.
Canada.
So he people kind of made a big deal about him throwing it on his homeland or whatever.
Of course, and he was. You could see how excited he was to be home. I'm sure he had a bunch of people there.
I'm sure. Yeah, fine, great. But a couple of things that I took from that, he only needed 99 pitches, which was pretty impressive to me. His last 3 pitches, 98, 100, and 99 miles an hour.
That is impressive.
That's impressive.
That is what – see, and that's what – when you get into these guys, when Justin Verlander was as good as he was, when Verlander was winning Cy Young awards, he was a guy who – started off the game throwing 96, 97, and he'd get to the 8th inning, he's throwing 99, 100 miles an hour.
Yep.
They got better as the game went on.
Yeah. That's
my favorite pitcher. That's 100%. That's the kind of thing that you look for.
Yeah. Those things really stood out to me. He only needed 99 pitches, and he was throwing that hard at the end of the game. James Paxton has maybe turned himself into the Mariners' best pitcher, and they still have Felix Hernandez.
Still have Felix. Felix is getting. I mean, Felix has been the best. He's been the king for a very long time.
Yes.
It's okay to slowly now. It's okay to slowly hand the torch.
Still not old.
No.
Anyway, but yeah, I mean, it's nice that they have a good 1-2 punch. If they make the playoffs, I mean, that you have Felix Hernandez and James Paxton going.
Yeah, tell me you're going to get them to each pitch twice in a 7-game series. I'd take that any day of the week.
Absolutely. So just a couple other things about the no-hitter. So that was the 3rd no-hitter so far this year in Major League Baseball. All 3, I thought this was so cool. All 3 no-hitters have been thrown in different countries. So that one was in Toronto, James Paxton.
Yeah.
last week, about a week ago, the Dodgers threw a combined no-hitter, 4 pitchers combined.
My
for a
favorite no-hitter is we talked about this before we got on here today. My favorite no-hitter is the combined pitcher no-hitter. I feel like that's that's just as difficult, if not more difficult, than they have one pitcher go out there and do it. Because if you got a guy who's on fire and he can't be stopped, he's going to get it done. Mm-hmm. But to get to then bring your bullpen in, not 1, not 2, but 3 guys out of the bullpen. Well, maybe we're just used to the Reds, and it's an automatic 5 runs. So.
Right, yeah. So, but you think it's more difficult? It's more impressive because it's more difficult to get a no-hitter out of 4 or 5 or however many different.
I would say so. Yeah, every time you bring in a different arm, you have a chance. If you got a guy who's on fire, starts off 3 straight innings, no hit, he's got a better chance of continuing that no hitter. I think.
I agree.
Than bringing in a different pitcher every inning. You have no idea what's coming out.
Yep, I agree because you get in a groove.
Yes,
a guy gets going good and he gets in that groove, he gets in that rhythm, and he's like you said, he's just on fire and he's just feeling really good. But yeah, exactly. I totally agree because each pitcher you come out, even no matter, you can bring a Aroldis Chapman out, and most days he's unbelievable and unhittable. But sometimes he's going to come out and serve up a
3 times a year. It'll happen 3 times a year.
Right. So yeah, I agree with you. That is a more impressive. Anyway, that Dodgers no hitter, 4 different pitchers combined for that. Mm-hmm. That was a game against the Padres in Monterrey, Mexico. And then, Sean Manaea from the Oakland A's. He did it in Oakland, which is in the United States. So there are your 3 no hitters this year in 3 different countries. So my last thing on the no hitter. Okay. I'm excited about this.
All right.
Because I want to hear what you say. So okay, I have pet peeves in my life, right? I have things that irk me.
Yeah.
That grind my gears.
Yeah.
The no-hitter is referred to more than a no-hitter. Let me rephrase
The no-hitter is referred to more than a no-hitter.
No. Hold on. Let me rephrase it.
Okay.
The no-hitter is referred to as a no-no. So much more than a no-hitter. A no-hitter is not called a no-hitter anymore. Like 90% of the media and people on social media and any place you can find it calls it a no-no, and I can't stand that. 1,000 times worse than Scary Terry. 1,000 times worse.
That's impressive because Scary. I know how I feel about Scary Terry. I'm not a big fan of it, and we just said it like 4 times, and we said we'd never say it again.
Right.
But at the same time, the no-no. All right, so I just want it to be known. Mm-hmm. I wish, and like part of me right now wants to just be devil's advocate and go completely against you and just have some fun. But no, I'm with you 100%. You'll never hear me say no. You'll never hear me say that. It's always a no-hitter. In fact, I was just looking, was it yesterday or today? One of these days you get a
every day
every
happens.
5th inning, 6th inning somebody's got a, and it says no watch.
Yes.
No watch.
Yes.
For a while, I kept thinking somebody like Hideo Nomo was coming back, and like they saw him in the crowd or something. Like, oh my gosh, Nomo's back. No, it's a no-hitter. It's always going to be a no-hitter. A perfect game, anything like that, that'll always be just that. You don't have to
call it a
perfecto, which they do on the app
they
too.
do all the time. Yep.
Bartolo perfecto when Cologne had his perfect game through 6, which by the way, okay, because this is where I thought you were going with this to begin with. A lot of people refuse to talk to the pitcher. The pitcher doesn't want to talk to anybody in the dugout. He walks in, he walks out. He's got his little towel wrapped around his arm, keeping his arm warm. Doesn't say a word to anybody, and nobody will bring it up. My man Bartolo Cologne's got a perfect game going. He's got a ball in his hand, throwing it up in the air, bull crapping with every person on the bench. That's what I would be doing. I would be joking about it. I'd be like, hey, y'all see that up there? That's right. No hits, no walks. Keep it up now. Don't piss me off today now. Y'all boot a ball. You owe me $15,000 or something. Yeah, I'd be messing with everybody.
That's one of the oldest things in baseball, one of those superstitious things, in baseball that you're not supposed to talk about, not supposed to talk to the pitcher. You're not supposed to talk about it either. Like everybody, fans, broadcasters, you're not supposed to talk about it because that jinxes it or whatever.
I always felt so bad for broadcasters. And that's what I like about Tom Brenneman. Tom Brenneman doesn't care about any of that. Tom Brenneman starts
Marty
talking
doesn't
about it,
either.
right? Nope, neither of them do. Like, don't give me that superstition. If he's going to throw it, he's going to throw it. The people listening to this broadcast need to know what's going on.
Right.
I'm going to tell them. I love that.
And they're right. And it was funny. Was it yesterday? Yesterday or the day before? Whenever James Paxton threw his no-hitter, I think it was Buster Olney on Twitter at the end of the no-hitter. I think right after he did it. He said, okay, that's 13 tweets about the no-hitter that I sent out, and I didn't jinx it. So he was kind of saying, like, he counted the tweets that he talked about the no-hitter during the game, and he wanted to call that out so people realize, like, hey, that's really stupid to think that it's, that's a superstitious thing that you should follow still.
I used to be an extremely superstitious guy. Whenever I played, I put, left sock, left shoe, right shoe, or whatever. I'd always do everything the same. Or if I had a really good game, I would make sure that next game I tried to do everything the same, eat the same.
Mm-hmm. You didn't wash your underwear that you wore that game.
The jock strap's never been washed anyway, so
geez.
I still got that thing. It's in Tupperware.
That's
anyway,
foul.
so
is the Tupperware melting?
no, dude, it's Tupperware, man. It's made of polypropylene, dude. It's like the strongest plastic in the world.
That must be.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's good. So anyway, although when I crack it open to go to softball on Sunday, I got to go outside. Before I put it on.
Put your jockstrap on outside.
I usually put it on.
Your neighbors are big fans of that.
I usually put it on sometimes I put it on right before the game starts. Just drop the drawers. I got a pair of sliding shorts
Least
on.
surprising thing I've ever heard you say.
So anyway, back to the superstition. So what I wanted to tell you was, the older I get, the more I feel like it's not superstition. That players are it's always said that players are superstitious. You get all these guys. I feel like it's more of a consistency thing. It's I don't know exactly what the word I'm looking for is, but it's people, when something's going on, they want to keep the same routine. That's the word. It's a routine. You want to keep the same routine going. You do the exact same thing, not necessarily because of any superstition, just because that is what works for you every time you do something.
For comfortability.
Exactly. And if you do something a little different, your body's a little different. Everything changes. I truly believe I'm done with the superstitious stuff. But I really do believe that, although I say that, next Sunday I'll have a beer and we'll have a great inning, and I'll make sure I put it in the exact same spot on the bench.
I feel like it's different if you're playing than if you're just a fan or whatever.
Well, 100%, of course.
Because I can see myself kind of doing that too. I'm really not a very superstitious person, but I feel like I can fall into that stuff once in a while, just depending on what it is.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, we'll move on from the no hitter. Let's talk about the Reds, the Cincinnati Reds,
my boys,
who are the red hot Reds right now. 10-27 now. Look, you mentioned it early on.
That's right. We had a walk-off home run today to get us to double digits. Congratulations, Adam Duvall. I think it should be known that he should get a standing ovation. Oh, I don't have it set up right.
Not only good try. Not only it's the thought that counts. Not only did the Reds won their last two games. They won the series. There it is. Congratulations on the 2-game win streak. I'll send you a cake in a box.
Don't eat it.
Okay, so they're 10-27 now. Not only do they not have the worst record in baseball anymore, they are now the 28th best team in the major leagues.
Got to give it to him. I feel like Adam's handing out ribbons to everybody. Here you go. Cincinnati Reds, here's your trophy.
Listen,
28th best team.
The White Sox are worse, and the Orioles are 8-27.
So the Orioles still have not won since we last talked.
You're right. That's true. I think they had 8 wins last time.
We both had 8 wins, but they had less losses.
You're right. Man, that's bad. Orioles. Okay, so now the Orioles take over.
It's bad when a Reds fan's telling you how bad you are.
So the Reds they're 4-6 in their last 10, which is about what they were, I think, last time we talked, about a week ago, because they had just had that week where Votto was the NL player of the week, and they just got Suarez back. Suarez is hitting the heck out of the ball.
Yes, he is.
Votto's doing his thing still, and then you have Billy Hamilton.
Yes, they have Billy Hamilton.
Oh,
that is correct.
I thought you were hitting a sound effect there.
Oh no,
it looked like that's what you were doing.
No,
okay.
I'm flipping through the iPad. No,
I was trying to make room for that.
I'm trying to get to his stats so I can see how bad he is right now.
Well, let me tell you how bad he is. How bad he is in the last 7 games is he's hitting .318. Since we talked last. 423 on base percentage in the last 7 games, which brings his season totals up over the Mendoza line now, 202.
202.
Okay,
good for you, Billy.
And over the 300 mark on base. He's at 310 now. Okay, so here he goes. So now look, let's see. All-Star games, middle of June. It's only the beginning of May. Middle of July. So he's got 2 months still to become an All-Star, and I think that's going to be no problem. Voting is going to start pretty soon because they start voting like at the beginning of the year now.
I figured they already started voting. I thought it was like the first week of the season they start voting.
It seems like they do every year. The NBA kind of does that now too. But anyway, so Billy Hamilton, look, in the next couple of weeks, you're going to have no choice but to vote him as an All-Star, because by then he's going to be hitting, he'll be up over 300 average. He'll be up over 400 on base. Obviously, because he's trending that way.
He's not getting the 400 on base percentage, because then I got to buy you a Jeff Ruby's steak, and that's going to cost me way too much money.
Is that what we bet?
Yeah,
the Jeff Ruby steak.
Yeah.
I thought it was Skyline or something.
No, Skyline. I still owe you Skyline from the crosstown or from the NCAA tournament.
Okay. Actually, okay, so we'll just do like a double or nothing thing. If I win, if he gets up over 400, if his on base gets up over 400.
That bet was forever in his entire career after 20 games.
So save the Skyline you owe me. If he does that, you buy them both at the same time. I'll pour the Skyline on top of the Jeff Ruby steak, which would enhance the Jeff Ruby steak because the only thing you can do with Skyline is make something better.
So Skyline's one of your 3 then. That I always say there's 3 things that make every food better. You can take one of 3 things and put it on something, it'll make it better. I always say nacho cheese, chocolate, and ranch dressing. You put any food you can possibly find.
I can't.
I can pick one of those 3 things.
I don't know about nacho cheese, but
cheese. It's nachos. So, I wish we had some kind of buzzer for a terrible joke.
I'm sure we can find one.
Yeah.
Okay, so look. Matter of fact, today Billy Hamilton did. There it is.
I'm just way too slow.
There it is. No, you can do that every time I mention Billy Hamilton. So anyway, Billy Hamilton did not get a hit today, but that broke a 7-game hit streak for him.
Wow. Hey.
Yeah.
You know what? No, listen. I've been saying it since the beginning. I want Billy Hamilton to be good. The guy was hitting 116 or something, 170. I don't think he was there. I think he was at 152 at one point in time, and he still led the team in runs scored. Get your butt on base.
Mm-hmm. Well,
he's doing it. Good.
He is doing it, and he also has 17 walks in 35 games so far, which is by far, I think, his best pace, his best walk ratio, his best walk rate, I should say, in his career. I'm sure of it. I didn't even look that up, but it has to be.
14 walks might be the most walks he's had in a season.
17 walks, yeah. Yeah, and that, you know what? He also hit his second home run the other day too. That's about as many as he hits in a year too.
Yeah. That's true.
So anyway, yeah.
So you know what I'd like to know is what are his splits over this past week of right-handed to left-handed hitting?
He's awful against. He's awful.
If they would just take him and put something like cement so he can only stand on the right, so he can only bat right-handed. Don't let him do anything on the left side. I hate that. He's terrible. Get him away from it. Billy, I hope you are as good a player. I hope you turn into D. Gordon. That's what I want. I think he has the potential to be a D. Gordon. Maybe not potential. He's played for way too long. I don't know if he's going to get there. Obviously, I don't think he's going to get there. But, God, hit the ball. Get on base. You could be a heck of a ball player.
You know what's – okay, so he – in the last 7 games, look, his average is still 200, obviously, and his on base is 310, which isn't – it's better, but
that's really good for him.
It's pretty good for him. Yeah, you're right. What's concerning to me, actually, is he only has 5 stolen bases on the season, and he hasn't had one since April 23rd. So he's actually recently getting on base more, and he is not stealing any bases.
I wonder if that's part of the reason why things are going well for him. He's not as focused on the running part of it, but that comes way after you're ever up to bat. I don't know. That is surprising. He hasn't been caught stealing either. So
right.
I mean, he's only been caught stealing once. So
maybe that's why he just wants his percentage to be really high, so he's not going to steal any more bases this year.
Yeah. Then he might want to steal a couple more because his percentage would still be lower than some of the other years.
Yeah. If he doesn't steal any more bases, then
58-8. That's pretty ridiculous 2 years ago.
Yeah. If he doesn't steal any more bases, then I have to agree with you about how bad he is, because my whole thing is, even if he gets on base a little bit, he's still more valuable than a guy that gets on base the same amount because he's so good at running the bases. But right. So anyway, the big news really for the Reds.
Yes.
2 days ago, they made a trade in an otherwise uneventful year so far. They made a trade. It's really an uneventful trade too, but it's kind of a thing it's something to talk about, and you are passionate about this. I can tell. You're passionate about this.
I don't even know where to start.
So the Reds were playing the New York Mets here in Cincinnati for the last 3 days. The middle game on Tuesday. What is today? Yeah, Tuesday. Yesterday. It just happened because it was less than an hour before the first pitch. A trade went through. The Reds traded Devin Mesoraco for Matt Harvey. Matt Harvey was designated for assignment a week ago or so. He refused an assignment to the minor leagues, so they had it was like 7 or 10 days or whatever to either trade him or release him completely, right?
Yep.
So the Reds took a chance and traded their backup catcher.
Okay.
Who's now their backup catcher. For a who knows.
It's not a who knows. All right, here's the deal. Here's the thing. So the Reds at this point in time, with Devin Mesoraco obviously being injury prone. So you have an injury prone guy and then another guy who's a loose cannon, just an idiot. But I don't even want to get into Matt Harvey right off the bat. Okay, so Devin Mesoraco, I love Devin Mesoraco. Guy's been hurt. He's injury prone. When he plays, he is I bet he's the best backup catcher in baseball if he's healthy. Perfect. And he's young. He's great. It seems to be great in the locker room. People seem to like him. And you're going to trade him and bring in a guy who has the worst ERA in all of baseball over the last 2 years. All of Major League Baseball. I'm sorry, I think it's the second worst. Second worst ERA in all of Major League Baseball. Is a head case and a cancer in the locker room. The guy doesn't show up to games. He's out partying all night. He's a nightlife guy. You're going to bring that guy in with this young team? That's what you want these guys to look at? That's the guy? Well, you're not sending him to the minors because obviously he already refused to be designated to assignment already. This is the dumbest trade I've ever seen the Reds make. And especially when you are rebuilding, you're going to take a guy who, maybe at some point in time he can have one more good year. He's been hurt, Tommy John, and whatever itis he had in his bubble gut itis or something like that for a year that shut him down. Stop going out partying and drinking all night, and you won't have bubble gut itis. All right? Here's the deal. The day before your start, doesn't show up to a game at all. Nobody knows where he's at because he's hungover. He's still sleeping. The worst thing you could do is have a bunch of young guys and bring that guy into the locker room. That's terrible. Maybe bring this guy in as a flyer if you're, middle of the road team and you got potential of, okay, maybe he gets himself back on track in a new place. I understand that whole thing. But no, that's not where this team is. We are terrible. We are the 28th best team in baseball, which is the third worst team in baseball.
Oh, glass half full, man.
The glass is 1/30th full. I cannot stand this trade. I think they gave up. I'm not saying they gave up too much because they were able to get rid of Mesoraco's salary. They got rid of that off the salary cap. But what's Harvey making? I don't know what Matt Harvey's making. I'm sure he signed a big deal after he had that Cy Young. I think he was third in the Cy Young race that one year, his second or third year in the league. I'm sure he signed a big contract after that. So
he was making about half actually of what doesn't. Mesoraco was making like 13.1 this year, and I think Harvey was making like 6.5.
All right, so you save a little bit of cash.
Well,
that's good.
But they sent cash to make up for it. They sent cash with Mesoraco, so really
perfect. So we didn't only get rid of the best backup catcher in baseball, which is not anything. It means nothing. It's just something it's just a sound effect that comes out of my mouth because I want it to be more prominent. We actually gave them money for the worst pitcher in baseball. The worst pitcher in Major League Baseball.
You ready for this?
You agree. Don't tell me you don't agree or else I might just walk out of this out of the dungeon right now.
All right, you ready?
Yes.
So this so far is the greatest trade in Reds history. Because, hey, you know what? The Reds are undefeated in the Matt Harvey era. They're 2-0. They're 2-0 since the trade.
Has he pitched?
Not yet. He's going to join the club in L.A.
Continue that.
He's gonna join the club in L.A. this week. No, he hasn't pitched yet, but they're 2-0 in the Matt Harvey era. They're undefeated. They're undefeated all time in the Matt Harvey era. So listen, for real. It surprised me when I looked at this how much their careers have mirrored each other. They are, number one, they're both 29 years old. They're the same age. Mm-hmm. They both have suffered pretty major injuries. They both have Mesoraco's a good backup catcher, but his, because of the injuries, he's not the same player he once was.
Of course not. That's why he's not starting on this team.
Right, yeah. And a big part of it was because Tucker Barnhart took that opportunity and so anyway, but Mesoraco, he's on the decline a little bit. And look, maybe if he gets a chance to play most days with another club, I don't know how much he'll play with the Mets, but if he gets a chance, maybe he comes back and he hits the ball with power again, and he catches some days and plays first some days or wherever they want to try him. Yeah. Because he's not going to catch every day for you for sure.
And he's never going to play first with the Reds. Votto plays every day.
Right. Of course. Yeah. But maybe with the Mets, Bruce plays first sometimes with them, and he's much better in the outfield. So, if you need to throw a guy at first, maybe he plays a little first base for the Mets. I don't know, but or wait. Adrian Gonzalez is playing for the Mets. Never mind. He's not going to play first base. So anyway, whatever happens, if he gets a chance to play, he's probably not going to get much of a chance to play. But if he does, who knows? Maybe he regains some of that momentum he had when in 2014 when he was an All-Star. Even that year, he played 114 games. That's the most he's ever played in a year. After that, it was 103, and after that, it was 56. That's the third most amount of games he's played in a year. So what we're giving up, honestly, what Devin Mesoraco was giving us was almost nothing, except
a good bat off the bench, and they're also which they don't use very often because you don't use your backup catcher as a bat, but a very good when Tucker Barnhart needs a breather, he's a very compatible catcher to throw in there as Tucker Barnhart.
He's still really serviceable as a player. But he's just not, he's not going to make a big impact on this team. And Matt Harvey likely is not either. But, and of course Dick Williams in the media, the Reds GM Dick Williams is going to, put the most positive spin on it he can. And he said, they feel like, the coaching staff feels like there are things that they can tweak to help.
I guess coming to Cincinnati, the best thing is coming to Cincinnati because the nightlife is completely different. Maybe that's their tweak. Let's bring him to a no nightlife city where and only pitch him at home so he's not drunk off his butt out in L.A. or New York or wherever.
That's what the New York media is actually talking about a lot, is that, maybe this will be good for Matt Harvey because Cincinnati's such a boring, awful city compared to New York.
They both needed a change. And
look, and maybe that really will. Maybe he'll get into this locker room and meet some new guys and
I hope Joey Votto walks right up to him and punches him in the mouth to start.
Yeah, I mean that's probably not the. If you're a leader like Joey Votto, maybe that's not the best way to bring a guy in.
You're walking up and you're saying, "Look here, young boys, I'm the one that you follow on this team, not this ragged rumpshaw. I don't even know what kind of word I'm going to use, idiot." And just knock him out and say, "All right, you want to play on this team? I'm going to hit you every single time I find out you've been out partying all night."
Yeah, I don't see Joey Votto doing that, but
of course not. He's too nice of a guy.
But anyway, look, I'm not going to get too down on this trade until I see it happen. And look, I'm not expecting to get much out of Matt Harvey, but
stupid trade.
But look, maybe he does come here and maybe he turns over a new leaf, or maybe
Billy Hamilton has a 400 on base percentage. Maybe Billy Hamilton hits 50 home runs. There's a lot of maybes out there. Maybe someday you could win a 3-point competition at an all-star game.
So you're comparing the possibility of Billy Hamilton hitting 50 home runs.
Yes,
career maybe
to Matt Harvey. Doing anything.
Okay. Look, yeah,
that's
I don't know,
too far, obviously, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay. So look, maybe Matt Harvey comes here and fixes himself even just a little bit and contributes something. That's the other thing too, is they've already said they see him as a starter. They're going to put him in the starting rotation. Somebody else is going to get bumped out of the starting rotation.
So you're going to take all these young guys that we got, and the whole plan is to get all these young guys in here for the future, and now you're going to take one of them out for some washed-up bum? That's ridiculous. I can't even talk about this anymore.
To me is the biggest problem with the trade.
I agree.
Because you aren't in a position to win at all.
No.
The only way this can end up halfway decent is if he really does find a way, if a new coaching staff or just a new environment changes him enough to make him, anywhere close to what he was 5 years ago.
So I was out of town Tuesday night and my phone went off, and I was having a drink with a customer and my phone went off and it came on, and it was the MLB apps and it had that, and I literally threw my phone across the bar. Not throw. It was more of a toss, and it landed and slid and made a little bit of a scene. And I don't care, because it was. I immediately said, "That's the dumbest thing. I can't believe this just happened. I cannot believe this just happened. Still, right now, I cannot believe this just happened." I don't know what else we have to say about it.
I'm surprised by how much this bothers you.
Oh, I can't stand it.
I really am.
It's so difficult to be a Reds fan right now anyway, and to go through I enjoy watching these young kids get better and grow on this team, and I would enjoy to see them continue that. And I think that you are bringing in the exact opposite of what you're trying to do on this team when you bring this guy in. It's the exact opposite of what you are trying to do.
What if he does come back and look, right now, being the best pitcher on this staff is not a hard thing to do.
No.
But
I don't care if you're the best pitcher on the staff. That's not what I'm looking for now. I want to see the best potential pitcher on this staff. And don't tell me that he might be the best potential pitcher because
well, he was an all-star and he helped lead the Mets to the World Series, a few years ago. But
yeah, he helped lead them to the World Series, and he also lost the World Series for him in the bottom of the ninth inning when he gave up, 4 hits or something like that, and a double to lose the game.
Well, he
been washed up ever since.
He's not as clutch as Terry Rozier. I don't know what to tell you.
That's the truth. All right, hey,
the one thing that I heard about from this trade that I just stood out to me, and it really doesn't say anything about this player, but it's just a very interesting stat, and it's just kind of a fun thing to throw out there. Devin Mesoraco has made an appearance in 17 games for the Reds this season. Do you know what I'm going to say?
No.
17 games for the Reds this season, and the 2 games that he's been a member of the Mets he's appeared in. In the 19 games he has appeared in this Major League season, his teams are 0 and 19.
Here we go. There you go. 2-0 with Harvey, 0 and 19 if you have Mesoraco, which there you go, because one guy changes a game in baseball. It's all about that one player that's on the field. All right, so we're an hour into this thing.
Yep.
Listen, we appreciate everybody listening. Go on whatever platform you listen to, click the little heart or the thumbs up button. We would appreciate it. Leave a comment, subscribe, let us know what you think. If you want us to talk about something, you can go to our Facebook page, The Nosebleeds Sports Podcast. Look us up. Like I said, we're on iTunes. We're on CastBox, SoundCloud, and YouTube. Catch Adam at
Adam Schmidt 44 on Twitter.
And if you want me on the tweet box, you can get me at Sick With It. That's all we got for today. We really appreciate it, guys, and we'll see you next week. It'll be a Thursday release. Every week, I think we're going to release this thing on Thursday, so we'll see you then.
That's the goal.
Don't forget to turn your lights on.
You can't touch this. You can't touch this. You can't touch this.